Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So if you do consider drop your like, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So I do believe the things that do need to improve at Manchester United, and there is actually a lot of things that do need to improve at Manchester United. I do believe the results definitely need to improve, the performances need to improve, we tactically need to improve, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics are questionable. I think we also need to improve our away form, and we also need to improve our home form. And these are a lot of things that do need to improve. Like I said, also certain players do need to perform better than that, because obviously we've endured really a difficult start to this season, and obviously reflecting on our poor start to this season. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under serious pressure at the football club now. Obviously the vast majority of Manchester United fans are demanding him out of the football club, and I did say if this bad run of form does continue to persist, then I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be gone by Christmas. Obviously I was listening to Roy Keane yesterday on Monday Night Football. He gave his overarching view on the situation with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he insists that Solskjaer does need to be given more time at Manchester United than that, because don't forget Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has not yet had a long tenure at Manchester United. Overall he has only been with the club 10 months, so in that aspect he's been at the club just under a year. We did recommend Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in December of last year, following the dismissal of Jose Mourinho, and obviously Solskjaer came in as interim manager at the first, and obviously he was interim manager for 3 months. Solskjaer did really well in that 3-month period. The results were good, the performances were good, and he was getting the best out of these group of players, but and he exceeded expectations. But since he got the job in March earlier on this year, everything of course has seemed to have all gone wrong. And analysing it so far this season, he's replicating what I saw last season. Because what I mean in that aspect is I haven't really seen much improvements this season, and I think we could enjoy a worse season this season than what we saw last season without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, I think we need to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer another couple of windows, like Roy Keane was mentioned in that, because we still know that further more investment is needed in the squad. Obviously this has only been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United, and I will credit him in the aspect that he did recommend 3 good players to the squad. We spent a substantial amount. We spent nearly £150 million on Dan James, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, and we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far, even though we've had a bad start to the season. But I still think these certain players that have played quite well this season. But I was happy in the aspect that we did address some of the problematic areas. We've got that experienced centre half in, we've got that right back in, but obviously we didn't get that midfielder in that, because obviously that midfield area is one of the priority areas where Manchester United do need to strengthen up. So we need to consider getting at least one midfielder in January. Don't forget, for the majority of this summer we was in search for a right winger, but like I did say, due to our inconsistency, I think the vast majority. The vast majority of the blame does stem from the board, but I think everyone has to take some kind of blame, and I think it is a mixture, but the vast majority of the blame does stem from the board. I think the board are a liability, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously the board assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been back during the summer, but for me he wasn't back enough in that. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job should be safe for him at least this season. He should be safe until May and that, but we will have to see who he can recommend in January and of course next summer. And for me the board weren't ruthless enough during the summer and that, but yeah, they have to take the blame, because the board didn't recommend any sufficient attackers in. They didn't recommend any sufficient midfielders in, so you can blame me in that aspect. I think also some of the blame does stem from Ed Woodward. Obviously he has to take some responsibility. I think the vast majority of Manchester United fans have not only been demanding Ed Woodward out, they've also been demanding Solskjaer out. Sorry, they have been demanding Ed Woodward out as well. I think they've also been criticising the Glazers. I think also some of the blame does stem from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because like I said on my recent videos and I said earlier on in this video that his tactics are questionable and that. Obviously we are tactically inept, I will admit that. I think there has been some Manchester United fans demanding him to go more with a 4-3-3 formation than that 4-2-3-1 formation, because I did say I think on a regular basis this season Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will go with that 4-2-3-1 formation. I think that formation is his preference over that 4-3-3 formation and that, but we are tactically inept, and so and I think also certain players, do have to take the blame in that, because there's a lot of players, that are underperforming for Manchester United. But yeah, we're enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season in 3 decades. Like I did mention earlier on, we've only won one of our last 6 league games. We've only won one of our last 6 league games, and we've only won 2 league games all season in the Premier League, and we've drawn 3 and lost 2. So we, in that aspect, I think we've registered only 9 points from 7 league games, and of course we do sit 10th in the table, and that's an absolute embarrassment, to be quite honest with you. But like I said, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to last at Manchester United, and I hate to say that, because there's still certain Man United fans that are still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think Ed Woodward is still convinced that he can turn things around at Man United. But you can pinpoint certain games out this season that arguably Manchester United should have won, as I do keep mentioning, like the game yesterday against Arsenal. I thought the performance was better yesterday evening than that. Obviously Roy Keane will mention that there was lack of quality in the game, lack of opportunities in that, but I thought actually Man United did create a lot of chances in the game, and that I think we had around 16 shots. I think 12 of those shots came outside the box. But I think we dominated large periods of the game. We dominated the possession. We had better of the chances. There was a lot of endeavour, especially in the second half in the game. But Man United and Arsenal, of course, are both struggling for form. And obviously, the game, it indicated out yesterday in that game that it just proves how far Manchester United and Arsenal are away, from basically being title contenders. And if we both teams do keep playing like that, Man United or Arsenal, of course, won't make the top 4. Because I did initially say at the end of last season, and he also said at the start of this season, that obviously our expectations this season will be to finish in that top 4, to obviously get back into the Champions League. And obviously Arsenal's expectations will be the same as ours, obviously getting that top 4 and get back into the Champions League. Because it'll be a similar sort of thing with Arsenal. If they don't get the top 4, they'll be demanding Ray out. Obviously this is Ray's second season with Arsenal, don't forget. But I think the way both teams are playing at the moment, we're not going to get top 4. Where we're playing at the moment, we won't even obviously get in the top 7 and that. But like I said, if this bad run of form does continue to persist, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be gone by Christmas and that. And I also credit him in the aspect as well. Solskjaer has got a lot of trust with in his young players, which is very, very good in that. I think the majority of the young upcoming players now have been given their opportunities. But Solskjaer recently insisted that he's got a lot of confidence in a lot of his players at Manchester United. But like I said, Solskjaer is obviously our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era, and that. Obviously, we're not really known for the sacking club. Despite the fact, that 3 managers have already been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we've had different managers with different philosophies. And like I said, we haven't really got the structure, to keep sacking managers and that. And I just want Solskjaer's tenure to become successful at Manchester United and that. And like I said, my element of concern about him is that, he hasn't really got the managerial experience, to the highest level. So obviously, that's also another element of concern. And that, Solskjaer, won a couple of Norwegian titles with Molde. He only had a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. But he was a great player for Manchester United, for 11 years. He did flourish under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that. So as a player in that aspect, he has got he's got that proven pedigree, but he hasn't really got it as a manager in that. So I don't think he's going to last at Manchester United. But for me, I think the board, to be quite fair, do need to assure structural changes at the football club. Whether they can get these structural changes or not, I do not know. The question is, are the board going to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the tools and that he needs? But for me, it wasn't only the summer transfer window. This summer transfer window, we wasn't competitive enough. I don't think we've been ruthless enough in the last 3 to 4 windows, to be quite honest. And obviously in the recent windows prior to this summer, we didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, we didn't get our number 1 targets last summer. Back under the Jose Mourinho era. And analysing our recruitment policy, it isn't too good. To be quite honest with you, it isn't too good. And I think Solskjaer has confirmed that he still wants to stick to the same policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do, throughout the course of the summer. But yeah, we have obviously, got games coming up thick and fast now. Obviously, AZ Alkmaar on Thursday evening in the Europa League. That's another particular game where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will go more with the youth. Then obviously 3 days after that it's Newcastle. Newcastle I think is on Sunday and away, and then obviously it's the international break, and then after the international break we do go to Liverpool Old Trafford. So obviously we do know that's going to be another tough game. I think we also need to improve our record against the top six, the top sides this season, because our record against the top sides was very poor last season. But there's still a lot of people backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I said. But yeah, he does need time, and we know now, the boards and that, don't give managers, enough time. Obviously, the boards are a lot more ruthless now, than there was back in the old generation, because obviously reflecting back under the Alex Ferguson era, don't forget, when we recommended Alex Ferguson in from Aberdeen back in 1995, 1996, Ferguson, don't forget, didn't win out in his first 3 or was it 4 years with Manchester United and that, and obviously, despite the fact that he didn't win out in 4 years, he still got given time and that, and it was basically 1 game away, I think, if I can remember rightly, from getting this up, but he didn't. And obviously, look what Alex Ferguson, went and accomplished. We had 20 odd years of success under him. Obviously, he developed a lot of young players. And I did say, we're never going to replicate what we did under Ferguson. No one's going to ever, follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. And I think Solskjaer, wants to get us back, to being like we was under Alex Ferguson. That Solskjaer mentioned that he wants to bring that fear factor back to the Manchester United. He wants to bring that winning mentality back to the football club and that. And obviously none of them have been there, since the Alex Ferguson era. But like I did say, we have been inconsistent in the last 6 or 7 years. And I give my overarching view on it. And I don't like the way the football club has been run in the last 6 or 7 years. But there's no excuse really, because reflecting on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club. Also, reflecting on our history, because we've got a fantastic history. We are the most successful team in England, historically, in that we should be much more of a commanding position than we're in now. We've registered 9 points from 7 league games. We've only managed 9 goals so far this season in the Premier League and that. And that's nowhere near good enough, to our current standards. But not all the blame, does stem from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. Don't forget, during the summer, we was in search for a sporting director and that. Obviously, I did initially say during the summer that's one of the structural changes that we do need the football club. I said we should have got a director of football in and that. I said we needed to recommend someone in. Someone who, of course, who knows the culture of the club, someone who has obviously got that experience, and someone who would be reliable, to oversee our transfer business and that. There was quite a few former Manchester United players, linked to that director's role during the summer. You could basically say, that maybe if we had got that director of football in during the summer, then maybe in that aspect, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, would have been backed more. And I think I think Solskjaer and, Ed Woodward are already, making plans for the January window and that. Obviously making plans for the January window, because obviously they're aware that further more investment is needed in the squad. But yeah, I think some of the players we was in for during the summer. I think we'll probably reignite our interest in some of them in January. Maybe we'll leave some until next summer. But I said, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League, that's what went against us basically in the summer transfer window. That's what went against us in the summer transfer window, because I did say, it's going to be hard to attract players to the elite level, of course, when you can't offer any Champions League football. So I did say quite a lot of players, had the element of concerns, about joining the football club. But yeah, I think the players, we will probably reignite our interest in, or more than likely to happen. I think we'll probably go back in for Jadon Sancho. We may go in for James Maddison. There was a lot of talks about, Jadon Sancho and James Maddison the other week, don't forget. I think we was only tentatively linked with James Maddison during the summer. What I mean in that aspect is that, James Maddison, wasn't one of our priority targets and that, wasn't in for the entirety of the summer. We inquired about his services and that, but I was reading reports reports, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, it might have been longer now, that reportedly we've identified James Maddison as one of our #1 priority targets, for January, or if not January, next summer. We are aware, if we had to go in for James Maddison, he's going to cost the club a substantial amount of money, but obviously, we're known for overpaying for players anyway. A hell of a lot of money's been invested into the football club in the last 6 or 7 years. Don't forget, we did business with Leicester, during the summer, for Harry Maguire. Obviously, we paid £80 million for him, and I do believe, the club over there paid for him, because Leicester basically forced us into paying £80 million, because Leicester, didn't really want to lose him. So if Leicester are willing to do business with James Maddison in the future, then obviously, Leicester, will demand a similar fee. But James Maddison, I think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United. Don't forget, he is predominantly an attacking midfielder, but James Maddison can also play on the left, because Brendan Rodgers has put James Maddison on the left, quite a few times. Obviously, Leicester, this is now his second season with Leicester, James Maddison's. Obviously, it was his debut season in the Premier League last season, but his stats were really, really good last season. I think he was involved in 14 goals. He created more chances than any other player in the Premier League, and that I think he created around 100 chances. Leicester paid around, was it £20 million for him from Norwich last summer. I think he's still got 4 years left on his current deal with Leicester and that. But I think there was quite a few other teams tracking him, when he was a youngster at Coventry. Obviously, he initially began his career with Coventry and that. I think he also had a loan spell in Scotland with Aberdeen. But I think mainly we're seeing James Maddison as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba, because despite the fact that we convinced Paul Pogba to remain at the football club at least for this summer, I still believe Pogba, will leave in January. If he doesn't leave in January, I do believe he will leave next summer. But either way, with even Pogba staying, I still think we need to get a midfielder in, because obviously we need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. And James Maddison's only 22 years of age, so still very, very young. Jadon Sancho, like I said, we was in for him basically, during the summer. Don't forget, reflecting back in January, we identified Jadon Sancho as our #1 priority target and that. But I did say our move got screwed for Jadon Sancho with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. This is why we didn't basically get Jadon Sancho. And again, if we are to go in for him in January or next summer, obviously, he's going to cost the club a substantial amount of money. We're probably going to have to make him our most expensive signing, because I think we're going to have to pay in the excess of around £100 million for Jadon Sancho and that, because I think this is what Borussia Dortmund were demanding back in January. But I think Jadon Sancho has got ambitions, and those ambitions are obviously to win titles with Dortmund and that. But he's unsure about his future, is Jadon Sancho. But Jadon Sancho is only 19 years of age. He is predominantly a right winger. He can play centrally, but he is predominantly a right winger. And as you say, I would be excited about the prospect of Jadon Sancho, playing alongside the likes of Martial, Rashford, and Dan James in our attacking line, because I think, they would, blend in, very, very well together. Jadon Sancho's had 2 great years with Borussia Dortmund. He's now into his 3rd season as a Borussia Dortmund player, and that. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund got him for next to note, basically. They paid around, £7 or £8 million for him, but obviously reflects on his performances during his time with Dortmund. His valuation has persistently grown. He was at Manchester City before he was at Dortmund. He served a couple of years with Man City, but obviously never really got assured first team opportunities, so this is one of the main factor reasons, why he left Manchester City, Jadon Sancho. But, I know Man United have spent a lot of money, but we've got the financial power and that, to meet the valuation of Jadon Sancho and James Maddison. That'll probably cost up to around £170 million for both players and that. I know we're in debt by millions and that, but we have a massive club, we've got massive revenue, so we can afford to spend big on players, and of course, overpay for players and that. But them 2 players, would dramatically improve Manchester United, in my opinion. But I did say, we need at least 3 world-class signings, maybe even more than that, if we are, if we want to get back to where we want to be, and of course, if we are to be future, title contenders. There was reports stemming out not too long ago saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer identified 2 strikers, he would like to recommend in January, and that was Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona and Mario Mandzukic from Juventus. Now, obviously, we know that Mario Mandzukic, would be a much cheaper solution than Ousmane Dembele. Mario Mandzukic is 33 years of age now. I think he's had a great great career in that, as Mario Mandzukic, so I do credit him in that aspect. But, don't forget, Man United did inquire about getting Mario Mandzukic towards the back end of the window, but I think, the board had element of concerns about recommending Mario Mandzukic in, obviously reflecting on his age, because Mario Mandzukic is around 33 years of age now, is he in that? But he probably, would cost us only from between 15 to 20 million pounds. Obviously, we were seeing him as an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku, and obviously, Ousmane Dembele, maybe I would have concerns about bringing him in. Obviously, reflecting on the amount of injuries he has sustained since he's been a Barcelona player. I think he's been injured around 7 or 8 times, for Barcelona. I think, if I'm right, he's into his 3rd season now as a Barcelona player. Don't forget, Barcelona paid a substantial amount for him. I think they paid around 105 million euros for him, and he would cost the club a substantial amount. We'd probably have to pay around £100 million, to get Ousmane Dembele in. Obviously, Ousmane Dembele can play as a forward, but I actually think he's predominantly a winger in that. So there could be 2 players that Man United, could go in for in January in that. Don't forget, for the entirety of the summer, we was in for Bruno Fernandes. Actually, Bruno Fernandes was our number 1 priority target, for the entirety of the summer. But obviously, we didn't end up, getting Bruno Fernandes, which was very, very disappointing. Because I did say, I would have been excited about the prospects of, Bruno Fernandes playing alongside, Paul Pogba and that in our midfield. But yeah, like I said, we have got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and trying to improve Manchester United and that. Maybe the vast majority of the young upcoming players, may not become a success at Manchester United, and I think some Man United fans, do believe that maybe we should orchestrate on maybe loaning some of them out, because maybe it will be beneficial for their career, and also it will gain them more experience in that, and it could only turn out that Mason Greenwood only becomes the successful young upcoming player in that. He could be the only one that becomes the success at Manchester United and that. I think also Alex Tuanzebe, he will also become a success at the football club. Tuanzebe was playing at left back yesterday against Arsenal. Like I said, he'll get more of his chances in the Europa League and the cup games and that. But yeah, very, very good player. Tuanzebe, don't forget, he's predominantly a centre back, but like I said, he can play as a full back. But yeah, we have got a lot of young upcoming players in the squad. But my overarching view is on Mason Greenwood, that obviously, Solskjaer, recently spoke a lot about Mason Greenwood, and, I think by the time Mason Greenwood's, 23, 24 years of age, I think he, will be a world-class centre-forward for us and that. Obviously, if Mason Greenwood if he does keep scoring, and obviously, if he does keep the consistency up, Solskjaer has assured that he will get more minutes under his belt. Greenwood didn't start against Arsenal yesterday, but came on as a substitute in the second half. But Mason Greenwood is yet to start a game from the start in the Premier League. He has so far made around 4-5 substitute appearances this season so far in the Premier League as Mason Greenwood. Obviously, he started in the games against FC Astana and Rochdale, obviously scored in them 2 games, and that's so he came up with the moment of quality. But he's only 17 years of age, so you can still quite frankly say he's a kid. Only made his full debut for the football club in the 2-0 home defeat to Cardiff at the end of last season. But I think he'll succeed at Manchester United. Like I said, I think at this present time, at least, he's a much better solution than Marcus Rashford, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Because Rashford, obviously, he played yesterday, but I could tell, that Rashford, wasn't fully fit yesterday, and that Rashford's obviously, been out with a groin problem. Rashford has been out of a groin problem. Obviously, he sustained this injury in the 2-0 defeat to West Ham last weekend and that. But analysing Rashford's performances so far this season, he's done maybe okay in parts. I think he did well throughout pre-season. He also did well in the opening day in the game against Chelsea on the opening day of the season. But prior to that, he has been below par as Marcus Rashford. To be quite honest, I'd still say he's a long-term solution for Manchester United. Rashford, he's only 21 years of age. He's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. So far Rashford has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. Obviously, he's been a United player since the age of 7. He's been in the senior squad with us, since 2016, and that, don't forget, he scored in his, Europa League debut against Midtjylland. He also scored twice on his Premier League debut against Arsenal back in February 2016. That's obviously now over 3 years ago. But yeah, we have seen Rashford at his best as a Manchester United player in that. But Rashford has performed nowhere near to the extent as how Martial, Daniel James, and Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, even McTominay, he's performed nowhere near to their extent and that. And you'd expect him to perform to the standards, as we should see, but he isn't doing this, Marcus Rashford. And a lot of people believe anyway, that he is overrated. But yeah, he wasn't fully fit yesterday, because he had some opportunities in the first half yesterday. There was one part of the game where he was actually through on goal, but obviously didn't take the opportunity in that, and he wasn't fully fit in that. So I actually yesterday would have started Mason Greenwood over Marcus Rashford in that. But like I said, we are lacking in that attacking line. Basically, that it's been indicated, that's been proven, this season, with the lack of goals and that, with the lack of goals and stuff like that. We're not being ruthless enough in front of goal. We're not being clinical enough in front of goal. We just don't seem to have that clinical element. We do seem to be creating chances in certain games and that, but we're just not being clinical enough in front of goal. But I think, we are short in that attacking line, obviously following the dismissal of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. But yeah, don't forget, it's not an excuse in that, but we have still got certain players out with injury in that. Obviously, we do know that Anthony Martial is out with injury. He's actually missed the last 5 games for Manchester United in all competitions. He's been out with a thigh injury, like I said. I think Solskjaer's confirmed as well that Martial will not return to the side in time for the game this Thursday against AZ Alkmaar. So that'll be another game that Martial will be missing. Maybe Martial will be back for the Newcastle game on Sunday. But yeah, Martial's been a big miss, like I said. And, Martial, like I said, hasn't quite emulated that level as yet. I think he's improving as a Manchester United player. Don't get me wrong, Martial is now into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. Obviously scored over 50 goals for the club in all competitions. And like I said before, he sustained his injury. I thought he did well in the first 3 games of the season. Did Anthony Martial? Still only 23 years of age. Predominantly a left winger, don't forget, predominantly a left winger, so players out wide. But obviously got confirmed at the start of the season he had been given that number 9 shirt, because Martial does seem to be more effective in that central position. But I think he is closer to regaining full fitness as Anthony Martial, which is very good news. But yeah, I think he's going to miss the game on Thursday. But he has been a big miss, and I was happy that we got him a new contract back in January. Very delighted about that. I was. He deserved it, based on his performances and that. But if he can keep the consistency up and he can avoid sustaining any more injuries this season, I think he can score from at least between 15 to 20 goals this season, in my opinion. But yeah, he's done quite well before he sustained his injury. Luke Shaw, I think he's missed the last 4 or 5 games in all competitions. Well, yeah, he has, just like Anthony Martial, because obviously, Luke Shaw hasn't played since the 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace earlier on in the season. And Luke Shaw's been out with a hamstring injury. Luke Shaw's been a big miss. Obviously, Luke Shaw's our first choice left back. Obviously, due to the absence of Luke Shaw, we do know it has been mainly Ashley Young that's been fulfilling his role at that left back position. Young actually played at right back yesterday, because Young's actually predominantly a right back, but obviously now Wan-Bissaka is our first choice right back. So yesterday, Wan-Bissaka was obviously out, so obviously Young played right back, and obviously Diego Dalot's also been out with injury in that. So. But yeah, Young's been mainly fulfilling his role in that. But Luke Shaw, I think, is also close to regaining full fitness. I think Solskjaer did confirm, in his press conference prior to the Arsenal game, that Luke Shaw is obviously back in training and that, which is very good news. Don't forget Luke Shaw won the double player of the season last season, reflecting obviously on his impressive performances and that. But yeah, he's been a big miss for the football club. And Wan-Bissaka, a lot of people believe that Wan-Bissaka has been one of our most consistent signings in that. I think he's done really, really well. He's settled in really, really well. Obviously, the game against Arsenal was the first game missed in the league this season, by the way. It's been revealed that he was ill, so this is why he didn't play, and I think he has got tonsillitis, so maybe Wan-Bissaka, may not, be able to play on Thursday against AZ Alkmaar. But yeah, he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Obviously, Paul Pogba, obviously I think he has now regained full fitness. Well, he did actually play, obviously, against Arsenal and that, but to me, he didn't look 100% fit, in my opinion, and that. But maybe Paul Pogba may not play against Alkmaar. He could be rested for that particular game. Pogba, like I said, he's also been very, very poor so far this season. Well, he might have done well in certain parts and that, but he hasn't been to the standards as we are basically expected of him. But yeah, maybe he does need to be rested for the Alkmaar game, but he's recently been out with an ankle injury. I think it's confirmed as well. Phil Jones will not be playing in the game on Thursday against Alkmaar either. I think it confirmed that he sustained a knock in the win over Rochdale in the Carabao Cup last week after the penalties and that. So I think he's been ruled out for the game. Jones, like I said, Jones will get the opportunities in the Europa League and the Cup games and that, but I think he'll miss this particular game against AZ Alkmaar. Obviously, we do know that Eric Bailly is a long-term absence, don't forget. He's out with a knee injury. He's out, I think, until the end of December or the new year. Fosu Mensah, Solskjaer also mentioned in his press conference that, Fosu Mensah has returned back to training. Obviously, he's another one with the young upcoming players in that. So we have still got quite a few players out with injury, but I think Diego Dalot and Angel Gomez, could be back for the game on Thursday against AZ Alkmaar in that. Diego Dalot has only played one game this season so far, and that was in the 1-0 win over FC Astana in the Europa League. And, Angel Gomez came on in the second half as a substitute in the 2-0 defeat to West Ham. And Angel Gomez is obviously another one of our midfield options. But yeah, we have had quite a few injuries, but it's basically no excuse, to be quite honest with you. It's no excuse, to be quite honest with you in that. But my overarching view on all this, I think certain players have still played well this season, even though we haven't enjoyed a great start to the season. So like I said, I think Daniel James has done well. I think Wan-Bissaka has done well. I think Harry Maguire's done really, really well. They're being very consistent. I think McTominay's done really, really well. In regards to McTominay being a long-term solution for Man United, I have obviously got element of concerns about that. I don't know if he can keep the consistency up, but, he's deserved to keep his place in the team. It was good to see McTominay, scoring yesterday in the game against Arsenal. That I thought he had a really, really good game, did McTominay, yesterday. But he deserves to keep his place in the team for the majority of this season. He has been playing alongside Paul Pogba in that midfield. Obviously, a few times he's played alongside Matic. Obviously, that was due to the absence of Paul Pogba. But McTominay, does deserve to keep his place in the team. Andres Pereira now, I think he's been poor this season. I don't think he was too bad yesterday, Andres Pereira, to be quite honest. He wasn't the best player on the pitch, but I don't think he did too bad. I think he, had a couple of opportunities, did Pereira. But, I would still, give Andres Pereira time. Alex Tuanzebe, like I said, he's done really, really well in the games he's also played in this season. He did, well in the Arsenal game yesterday, apart obviously from the misplaced pass, he made, to obviously lead to Arsenal's equaliser. Prior to that, though, I thought, Tuanzebe, did quite well. And yeah, so there's still certain players that have played quite well. I think Fred's done okay in a couple of games this season, that he's obviously currently played. We need to see more of Fred, basically, because I said Fred is a much better solution than Matic because he's more mobile and better on the ball. But I said any of our midfield options are much better solutions than Nemanja Matic and that. Jesse Lingard, analysing him so far, he's been quite poor so far this season and that. And, I still say Lingard is a long-term solution for Manchester United, don't get me wrong. Obviously, like I said, reflecting on his status at the football club. And I think Lingard's on around 100 grand a week. He should be putting much more better performances out and that. But he hasn't, been too good so far this season. But I think the vast majority of the players, of course, have underperformed. So, obviously, that is worrying and that. But I've already, given you the reasons, why it didn't work out under the other managerial eras and that. Like I said, it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era, because obviously, Jose Mourinho had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes there with the top players. He had, there was no sort of, the philosophy wasn't right under Mourinho. It was part of the bus football under Mourinho, and it just didn't work out under him, despite the fact, we won the Europa League and the League Cup in Jose Mourinho's first season at Manchester United. And I think we also got second, was it in his first season or his second season at the club? But I think Mourinho lasted around 2.5 years. But in my opinion, I think we recommended Jose Mourinho in too late. Maybe if you could arguably say if we'd got Mourinho in after Ferguson's retirement, then maybe it would have been a different situation with Manchester United and that. But Mourinho spent just under £400 million on players. He recommended 11 players in, to the football club and that. Obviously, Solskjaer's still inheriting the vast majority of them. Under Louis van Gaal era, didn't work out under him because obviously, he didn't have the right sort of philosophy in that. I think Van Gaal's tenure lasted just over a year at Manchester United, but he brought a lot of players in. Obviously, the vast majority of them have now left. There is still some of them here. Some of Louis van Gaal's players. And yeah, so this is why it didn't work out under him. And under David Moyes, obviously, he's the manager that's had the shortest tenure with the football club, since the Alex Ferguson era. Don't forget, David Moyes only lasted 10 months at Manchester United. I think it was around 10 months, and I did say, that was a mistake. That was one mistake Alex Ferguson made at that time, recommended David Moyes in, because obviously he recommended him in because, they're both Scottish. Obviously, they get on really, really well and that. Well, they did do at that time. I don't know if they still do now. Despite the fact that Moyes maybe did, have a long tenure with Everton. I think he said around 9 or 10 years with Everton, and that it was never going to work out for him at Manchester United, which it didn't, because he was never proven, of winning any suit where, he never really dealt with top players, and he didn't suit the strappings of the club basically in that. But yeah, a lot of money's been spent at United. I think around, is it 800, 900 million pounds has been spent in the last 6 or 7 years. So that's basically just under £1 billion that's been spent on players, and that's obviously not taking into account what was spent under Alex Ferguson. We know under Alex Ferguson, he developed the vast majority of our players in that, but he also, bought quite a few players in, and it's way over £1 billion we spent if you want to take into account what was spent under Alex Ferguson. But yeah, we need to see, what needs to change at Manchester United. Do we need to get rid of Solskjaer and recommend a new manager in? Does Ed Woodward need to go? I do believe definitely that more players do need to leave the football club, because despite the fact that a lot left, during the summer, I still believe, these problematic players at the football club and that. Obviously the players that left, Valencia left at the end of last season, after he served 10 years at Man United. Obviously, we saw, Smalling leave the football club. He went out on loan to Roma. Despite the fact that Smalling left, though, there's still 6 centre-backs in the team. Darmian left the football club. Ander Herrera left the football club. That was a mistake from Manchester United. We shouldn't have got rid of Ander Herrera. We should have basically kept Ander Herrera, because you could arguably say, like I said, he was one of our best players since the Alex Ferguson era. And he had 5 good years with Man United. Fellaini left back in January. He served 6 years at the club. Fellaini went to China in January, and that Lukaku and Sanchez both left for Inter Milan. So obviously now, they're reuniting together. Despite the fact that Sanchez has obviously gone out on loan, to Inter Milan. I still believe, we're paying the vast majority of his wages. I think we're still paying him around 300 grand a week and that, but I think Inter Milan are also, obviously, paying some of his wages. And obviously, we did loan a couple of goalkeepers out, don't forget. But I still believe, there is problematic players at the football club. These still problematic players in the football club and that. But for me, I think the problematic players are Young. He's a problematic player. He's past his sell-by date at Manchester United, and obviously, that's reflecting on his age, because Young is now 34, he's 35, I think, next year and that. I think Young had a good couple of... I think he had 2 good years with Manchester United, when he came in, from Aston Villa and that. But since then, hasn't really, been that good. Obviously, he was first choice right back last season and that, but should go at the end of the season. Don't forget the club gave him a new 1-year extension last season as well. Jones, like I said, he signed a new long-term contract last season. We shouldn't give Jones that new long-term contract last season. That was a mistake by the football club. Jones has been another long-serving player, though, just like Ashley Young. I think Young and Jones are both now into their 9th season as Manchester United players. So they've both been here, basically, since the Alex Ferguson and Moreira. Rojo, he's been here since the Louis van Gaal era and that, Rojo, I think his versatility is very, very good, in that back line and that, he can obviously play in various positions, but he's predominantly a centre-back and that is Marcus Rojo. What I said about Jones, he'll get obviously more chances than that in the Europa League and the Cup games, don't forget, actually, Everton had inquired about getting Rojo, during the summer. I think it actually, was on deadline day. A few other teams, went in for him, but Rojo has just got under 2 years left on his contract at Manchester United, as you all know. But for me, another problematic player. I also believe Nemanja Matic, he's another problematic player for the football club. I think he needs to be moved on in January or next summer. Matic has got, a year left on his contract. Not a year, under a year, sorry. His current contract expires at the end of the season, but there actually is an option, to extend it by a further year. And whether Man United do this or not, I do not know. I can't really see it because Matic has initially, lost his place in the team to Scott McTominay, basically. And I know Matic was playing on a regular basis not too long ago, obviously mainly due to the absence of Paul Pogba. But Matic for me is too slow. Makes that midfield look totally imbalanced. So I think we need to focus on getting rid of him. Like I did say, I think I still think Paul Pogba is going to leave the football club, in my opinion, in January. If he doesn't leave in January, I think he will leave next summer. Don't forget, a lot of reports have been circulated now. That reportedly Paul Pogba is demanding a substantial $600,000 a week if he's to sign a new long-term contract at Manchester United and that. And I think we have been in negotiations, with Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola, over the possibility of renewing his contract and obviously to discuss Paul Pogba's future in that at the football club. But I just can't see us, meeting his substantial wage demands. We might have the financial power to meet them wage demands and that, but I just don't think we're going to meet them current wage demands. So basically, Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola is trying to force his client out of the football club by demanding a substantial amount, for him to sign a new contract at Manchester United and that. Paul Pogba, he's still got 2 years left on his current deal with the club, with an option of a further year. Don't forget, on his current deal at the moment, Pogba is on around, $290,000 a week, so in that aspect he's still one of the highest paid players and he's on just under $300,000 a week at the football club, is Pogba. But I think he'll go to Real Madrid in January or next summer because I do believe Real Madrid is his first choice preference. It was his preference during the summer and that because Real Madrid, were relentlessly linked to him. Reflecting back earlier on in the summer, Paul Pogba was talking a lot about, Real Madrid. He did classify them as one of the biggest clubs in the world. He did say at some point in his career he does want to play for Real Madrid, basically. And obviously Zinedine Zidane identified, Paul Pogba as his number one priority target in that. Real Madrid themselves spent a substantial amount during the summer. They spent around £300 million on 5 players and that. They sold some players, so they did generate some of the money back. But Paul Pogba still wants out of the football club, in my opinion. He confirmed this back in June, which was early on in the summer. He said he wanted to leave Man United. He did say, he was seeking for a new challenge and that, and he wanted to leave basically, to rejuvenate his career. And I'll give you some of the main reasons why he probably wants out of the football club, because maybe he's frustrated with lack of competitiveness, maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, maybe he wants to be in Champions League football, and he's not experiencing any of this at Manchester United and that. Some Man United fans, wanting to go, some Manchester United fans wanting to stay at the football club and that. But like I did say, it's due to our inconsistency. It's not only going to be hard for us to get the players we want, it's also going to be hard for us to convince some of our imperative players to stay at the football club. But yeah, it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to build a side around Paul Pogba. But I think Adidas had a big part to play in Pogba staying at the football club this summer. I think they wanted Pogba to stay at Man United because they believe it's better for them commercially, apparently. And like I said, that's mainly everything to update with. So like I said, I haven't really seen much improvements in Solskjaer, than what I saw under Mourinho. David Moyes, Mourinho, Louis van Gaal and David Moyes and that. So I'm still not demanding him out of the football club. I'm still backing him all the way, like a lot of Manchester United fans are. You've got quite a lot of pundits out there that are still saying, give him more time at the football club and that, and see, what he can do. And I would, give him at least a couple of more transfer windows, to see, of course, so we can get into the football club and that. But things definitely need to improve at Man United. We need to score more goals. We need to be more clinical in front of goal. The results need to improve. The performances need to improve. Tactically, we need to improve. So there's so much that needs to improve, and I do believe, the personnel seems to be there, which is one good thing. But, I just don't know, to be quite honest, and there's really nothing much more to say. Solskjaer recently also came out and said, we face a learning curve, I think he mentioned. Things need to improve. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. And more videos will be coming up tomorrow. I think the preview for the AZ Alkmaar Manchester United game will be definitely coming up tomorrow. I think it'll be tomorrow morning. If it's not tomorrow morning, it will be tomorrow afternoon. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.